Okay, wow, that was amazing, man. I knew from the minute I heard you, well, at open mic, that first time I met you, you were playing one note, and I knew right away that, man, this is going to be good. And then you started singing, and it was a whole nother world. I had to get you here on the show, man.
Thank you, man.
So how you been?
It was a pleasure being here. I've been good. I've been trying to keep myself as busy as possible during all this, So,
I hear that.
So I'm a teacher normally. I teach 4 days a week, but I gig as much as I can on the side. So the past 6-7 months I've just been doing solo stuff, kind of like I've been. But I'll play bars and restaurants and.
Have you still been gigging during the pandemic?
Yeah, a little bit. Mostly like I said, just kind of bars and restaurants and stuff.
In what area?
Doing small acoustic stuff. In the York area, go over to Lancaster, up to Anvil, kind of this area.
Okay.
Doing a little bit of everything, but most of that's just I play like top 40 stuff. It's kind of general audience stuff people want to hear.
Awesome. So, you're writing new music?
Yeah. So, I released an EP back in 2018 under just my name, Ed Allison, and I'm gonna be releasing a new album, hopefully by the end of this year. I'm in the studio right now. I've got a good handful of songs that I have drum and bass track to that I'm actually going in to record guitar and just.
Now, did you do all the tracks, or do you have a band you work with?
Yeah, so I do all the stuff. So everything that you'll hear on the record is going to be performed by me, and it was the same way on my EP too. I tracked drums, bass, guitar, vocals, and the very small amount of keyboard that was on it.
Sweet. So you got your hands in a little bit of everything.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm trained in music education. So I went to school for 4 years at Westchester. So I got a great education in everything. Most of the stuff that I do here, I learned prior to all that. I started learning guitar when I was 13 or 14. Bass a couple years later. Drums around the same time.
So what inspired you to start playing? Was a guitar your first instrument?
Yeah, no. I think probably piano when I was maybe like 9. But I started really like getting serious about music when I was 10 and started playing clarinet. Clarinet in 4th grade, and I joined the concert band. But I started playing guitar when I was 13, partially because of my dad, because my dad knew a little bit of guitar and got me started on it, and I got serious with it because of Guitar Hero.
Oh wow!
I always credit that as saying like that's what taught me about a lot of different bands and just taught me the cool feeling of just having a guitar in my hands.
Guitar Hero. How old are you?
So I am 27.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it's funny you talk about Guitar Hero. One day I walked into my friend's house and they're playing Garage Band or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they had the drums there with the colors on it.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we want him on my team. He's a real drummer." And I come in and it's like everything was backwards.
Yeah.
And I'm like following, like I hear the beat and I'm like, I know what to play, and I go to play it and it was wrong. Yeah. And I'm like, I was the worst one there.
Yeah, I will say though, I always credit Rock Band for teaching me how to play drums. Like I 100% say that because I learned because we got my brother and I, because we were playing Guitar Hero all the time, got the Rock Band kit with the guitar, and it came with the microphone and it came with the drums, and I was the one that wanted to pick up the drums and and it really does. If you start out with it, it teaches you how to keep a beat. It teaches you how to use your right hand, use your foot, and use all your limbs independently. Especially they have a Green Day one that Trey Cool was super involved in, and he made a whole tutorial basically of here's how to play rudiments, starting from the beginning. Here's how to play this basic beats, basic fills, kind of like what you were doing 30 minutes ago when I walked in.
Right.
Teaching just all right, here's the basic, boom, cat, go, go, stuff like that.
Sweet, I didn't know that about that program. So you said you mentioned earlier you've been working with a band also.
Yeah. So I play with a couple different bands in the area, mostly cover stuff. I play with a band called Gunmetal Gray. We do metal, rock, all the way from, Ozzy to Bullet for My Valentine. We also do our own original stuff, and we're also working on a new album this year. I play with a band called White Two Kids. We do 2000s covers of, everything from the 2000s, rock, pop, indie. And then actually two of the songs that you'll hear in my performance are going to be released on this album that I'm working on, not under my name, but under a band, under a project.
So it sounds like you've been super, super busy during this pandemic.
Yes, so yeah, I've been trying to keep myself as busy as possible. Most of my bands aren't gigging out, aren't playing out anywhere, just because there's nowhere that's happening.
But look at it as giving you opportunities to write and to create
Absolutely.
content.
We've still been, we've been as safely as possible getting together every week and rehearsing songs and working on stuff and writing and being in the studio.
So how do you think, I have a question I was thinking of about the internet. What do you think the internet has impacted the music career?
So I think it's in a lot of ways lowered the bar for entry, but raised the bar for talent. Mm-hmm. It's so easy to create content and put it on a platform where everybody can see it. And it didn't always used to be like that. But I mean, I've been very lucky, and ever since I've grown up, I've had tools like YouTube and SoundCloud, and now even like things like TikTok, where you can create something and it's just there for everyone to see. You don't have to go through a label. You don't have to go and pay a lot of money to make cassettes or CDs and hand them out to people and say, here, listen to this. You can just make it's a link. Anybody can watch it, anybody can look at it. And especially nowadays with this generation on TikTok has the lowest bar for entry and the biggest possibility for exposure, because and I could talk about this for hours, but TikTok's algorithm can show you anything. Can show you something from someone who has 10 million followers and this huge following, this huge budget for videos, or someone that has 5 followers and might just show up on your feed. And that's one of the coolest things about it, is it's, like I said, totally lowered the bar for entry. But because of that, everyone's so inundated with content constantly now. That's
what I've been telling my students. It's like, well, majority of the stuff that I teach, you could probably find on YouTube. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I'm into the delivery of information. I love there's different ways to teach everything, mm-hmm. and it's kind of overwhelming when you're on YouTube. There's like a million things. It's like, what do I do? How do I start? And they don't show you how to get to that point.
Absolutely.
So it's like, I like to organize information and show people where to go and what to do, and I think it's good that we have the internet, but we also need that kind of structure, and it's the same with content.
Yeah, from an education aspect, it can be overwhelming, the amount of information that's on there.
Same with music.
There's a really good term I heard for it a while ago called infobesity, that we have so much information now that's just readily available on the internet that people don't know where to start, that people don't know how to process it all. Whereas before, it would be like, if you want to learn something, you read a book, and you read it from cover to cover, and that was it. Mm-hmm. Now it's hard to start. And it's the same with music, You have so much coming at you that it doesn't stick, Back in the day...
I feel like the internet was built for people to have ADD.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have ADD, so yeah, it's like, even with music, I'm like listening... You don't listen to a whole album anymore. Like, you used to go to the store and buy a CD, and it was like, you put that in your CD player in the car, and it was like you listened to the whole thing to the end.
Yep. Now
it's like, oh, I'm done with this song. What's next? And you go to the next song. It's just like, it's different. It's good, I think, but it's definitely different times.
Yeah, and there's good and bad aspects to all of it. I personally really enjoy listening to albums. Any artist that I follow or artist that I like, I'll, even if I hear just a single on the radio, I'll say, okay, I'll sit down and I'll listen to the whole album and see if there's anything else on it I like. But that's also not the way that a lot of people consume things anymore. So being, stuck in that is almost detrimental. A lot of bands now are smartly moving to just releasing, a song here, a song there, and I think that's
free song,
yeah, and I think that's the way to do it.
And that's what my band I've been working with. We've been I have a band I'm working with. We're doing an 11-song album, but then I have another band. He's like, well, let's just do either one song at a time or 3 songs at a time. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of getting my feet wet in that idea, and I see it happening more and more today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's coming up for you in the future here? What's next?
What's next? So, like I said, I'm working on an album right now. That's going to be, all my music kind of released under a band moniker. I'm still going to be writing all of it. I'm still going to be performing all of it. But I actually have a couple guys that I'm working with that are going to work with me to play live shows. So that's going to be coming.
Where can your fans find your shows of you and the band? Do you have a website?
So everything that I do live-wise is all going to be on my Facebook, which is facebook.com/Ed Allison Music. And that's where you can find me on anything, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Everything's going to be at Ed Allison Music. But you can find where I'm going to be both, doing my solo acoustic thing, playing songs, and an occasional original here and there. And then eventually, once things open back up, doing the full band thing.
Well, is there anything you want to say to your fans before we head out of here?
Yeah, absolutely. For any of you who are just tuning in and seeing me for the first time, hi, it's nice to meet you. My name's Ed. I make music about how sad I am. If you already know who I am and are checking this out, hi, nice to see you again. Hope to see you in the future after all this crap is over.
And I did want to ask you one more question before we leave here. Your writing process. What gives you inspiration to write? What comes to you when you start writing? How do you process that?
So one of the big things I do is, and this is something that I had to start doing recently, is making time for creativity. And it sounds really like counterintuitive. At least it would have to me like 3 years ago, where it's like I have to block out, an hour or two, every day or every other day to be like, all right, I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to create music. If I wait for inspiration to strike, it's going to happen, once every 3 months. So how do you start writing lyrics?
Is it you just sit there and it comes to you, or you think of an experience?
It's kind of the same thing. You just have to start doing it. So with lyrics, I'll usually hum a tune in my head first, and then try to see, okay, what words kind of fit with that. Or if
so you write the melody first, and then start.
Or if I'll have a particular lyrical phrase that'll come to me, I'll write that down. And I'll say, okay, how was I feeling when I was thinking about this? Let's write everything else off of that based on that feeling.
Okay. And what are some of your biggest influences in the music industry?
Some of my biggest influences in the music industry. I always say, as far as work ethic and just inspiration-wise, Dave Grohl is always a big one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Just his hustle and his energy and his enthusiasm about everything music is always really inspiring to me. And then as far as like my personal style and musical style goes, I always point to bands like The Wonder Years or Motion City Soundtrack with Dan Campbell or Justin Courtney Pierre. Their style of writing lyrics, their style of melody, and their sort of general tone.
Nice. Well, I'm super stoked that I can't wait for these guys to hear your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for it to come up.
All the links will be down below. If you like what you see, please tip this guy. We all need help in this time of pandemic. And it was a pleasure meeting you and getting to talk with you.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we can get the band in here sometime soon.
Absolutely.
And everybody stay safe until next time. Peace.
Thank you.